My cousin, 16, is spending the summer with me, 16, and my family. As both of my parents work, I am expected to get food for lunch for me and my cousin, and to cook dinner for the family. The problem is my cousin is super picky with food. He has a very odd list of food that he will eat: traditional French dishes, fast food, junk food, sushi, pizza, steak tartare, etc. But he also has a long list of foods that he will not eat. This list includes most vegetables, including broccoli, cauliflower, carrots, and corn, some sorts of meat, turkey, duck, rabbit, most types of grains, barley, couscous, and brown rice, and then a bunch of other random foods: ketchup, apples, mayonnaise, bananas. He will basically throw a fit if a meal isn't to his liking. It's become a big problem because my family and I normally eat a very diverse diet with a lot of different dishes from different cultures with many ingredients that he won't eat. He complained incessantly when we ate at a vegan or Moroccan restaurant, and one time when I made Indian food, palak paneer, he refused to eat it. His most annoying food restriction is that he hates cooked onions and won't eat them at all. He is way more serious about this restriction than the others. I have seen him eat raw onions, so I know he's not allergic, and when I visited him last summer, I'm pretty sure he ate cooked onions in a dish his dad made without his knowledge. It's very annoying because I put onions in almost anything, and if he even detects an onion he won't eat any part of the dish. Yesterday I decided to make a quiche for dinner. The way I make quiche includes onions as a major part of the dish, but I knew my cousin wouldn't eat it if I put onions in it. So I decided to chop them up very finely and hide them amongst the rest of the quiche and hope he wouldn't realize they were there. When it came to dinner time, I didn't tell him it had onions in it as I usually do with other dishes. He ate it and he liked it. I probably should have left well enough alone, but after dinner, I told him that there were actually onions in it and that he should try to be less picky. He got very angry and called his parents. His father thought it was hilarious and so did my parents, but my aunt is angry at me, said it was basically poisoning, and said I shouldn't have done it. Am I the idiot? Everyone's the idiot here. You only mildly. It's not a dietary restriction, but don't freaking rub it in his face. That's just being provocative, where you don't need to be. Him speaking as a picky eater, he either needs to come to terms with the necessity of pushing his boundaries or needs to resort to making his own food. It's a major idiot move to be that picky and expect everyone to kowtow to your taste. Again, it would be different if they were real dietary restrictions. Everyone's the idiot here. You because you don't mess with people's food. Him for being ridiculous. The thing is, there are a lot of reasons for picky eating. The reason I'm such a picky eater is because I have a sensory processing disorder. Certain textures, flavors, and smells can be overwhelming for me. In fact, one taste I can't stand is onions. So there are things I just won't eat. It sounds ridiculous when I list them all out, especially when there are things closely related that I will eat but then won't eat. Mashed potatoes are okay, but rice is not. Everyone is different. If it's becoming such a big problem, then he can make his own food. I think the view here is that he's spoiled, and that's why he throws a fit. It's possible he may have an eating disorder. Many people with eating disorders have a list of no can-do foods. I would maybe instead advocate for him to learn a bit of cooking and prepare something he likes alongside the family some nights. I was a childhood picky eater and learned to ask my family what they were making before dinner. If I didn't like it, I would simply make something at the same time for me to not cause a big deal. So, I have a father who left our family to start a new one with our neighbor when I was 13. I never fully forgave him, even though he tried, and still does, to make it up to me. Growing up, he would pay me to work with him and his company. It's pretty advanced construction finishing stuff, like custom molding for many different uses. I worked with him on and off through college, and I've gotten very good at it. He asked me to join his company full-time as an equal owner after I graduated. But my stepmom had a fit and basically forced my stepbrother into the mix as well. I do not get along with my stepbrother and tell my father that it's either him or me. He also did not have the right skills to work in a major capacity. To no one's surprise, my father said I needed to compromise so everyone in the family can be happy. I refused to compromise and went ahead and set up my own company. My father was upset, but I guess he figured he couldn't stop me. We continued having weekly dinners. For some reason, people are liking my company's work more. I have expanded my company more than my father ever has. I also targeted his major clients who have slowly come over to my company. I don't even do any of the labor myself anymore, unless I want to. Last week, my father broke down and said his business was struggling to survive. I admit I did feel bad, so I offered him a full-time job in my company and that I'd buy out his tools and workshop lease. But I told him my stepmother and stepbrother are not welcome anywhere near my company. This made my father pretty angry and we had a pretty big fight. He said I betrayed him. Then I basically told him he betrayed me by cheating on my mother. I do feel kind of guilty I ruined my father's company he worked hard to build. But at the same time, he forced me into this position by getting his family involved. Am I the idiot? You're the idiot big time. You may have ruined your father's life forever because you didn't get what you wanted. Opening a competitor business is one thing, but targeting his major clients, which you knew were his, is the worst you could have done. If you own your own successful company, I expect you to be a grown-up adult. Just because he left your family you have the gall to throw him under the bus, what, 20, 30 years later? He did his best to be a part of your life. He taught you, took you under his wings, and you repay him by ruining his life. You honestly are disgusting. You're the idiot. Your dad's cheating and leaving, clearly an idiot, and trying to give equal opportunities to his two sons, no idiots there, are separate issues. If your dad was some points of sale, I would say it was all justified, but that's not the kind of man you've described here. You're not an idiot for starting your own company, being really good at what you do, or for making your dad an offer. But you are an idiot for targeting his bigger clients and for casting yourself as a victim forced into this position. You could have sat back and let your father's work dry up on its own. But that wasn't enough. You were ruthless. So, you win. I guess. Everyone's the idiot here. So you learned the ins and outs of the business from your dad, then started a direct competitor to his business, specifically targeted his largest clients, and then tried to be the better guy by offering him a job working for you with stipulations. I'd put money on the assumption that you took advantage of knowing his pricing to undercut all of his bids. The apple didn't fall far from the tree it seems, you're an idiot OP. Obviously, your dad is an idiot too for his decisions regarding his families, so I won't address that further. After college, I moved back in with my parents to focus on paying off my student loans. I've been fortunate that my parents have let me live the last 3 years completely rent-free. I am super appreciative of them letting me live rent-free. I've tried to help out around the house as much as possible. I do the majority of the yard work and help with maintenance around the house. One of the main ways I've contributed over the last 3 years is buying the groceries for the rest of the house, both my parents and my older brother. All in all, it's about $600 or $700 a month. This was something that I just started occasionally doing and soon became just something that I did for the family. I was never asked to do it. Last month my parents asked me to start paying rent. I don't have an issue with this, but they asked me to pay $750 a month. I thought that they wanted a more similar situation that they had with my older brother, who pays rent, same amount, but doesn't contribute around the house, so I agreed and wrote them a check for that month on the spot. It's important to note that I had already gone to the grocery that month, so we had a fully stocked pantry. Come to the start of this month, I paid my rent on the first of the month and thought everything was settled. A few days into the month, after I get home from work, my dad casually mentions that we don't have any food in the house and when I'm going to go to the store. I was caught off guard and said that I'd be happy to do the shopping on my day off, but would need some money to pay for everything. He seemed confused by this and brought up that I had never asked for money before. I reminded him that I had started paying rent and couldn't afford rent and feed the whole family. This led to a huge argument, and now everyone is pissed at everyone else. I really don't think I'm in the wrong here. I might not have been paying rent, but I have more than made up for it in other ways, including buying the groceries for my whole family. Not the idiot. Everyone should be contributing to groceries, not just you. I realized before the rent agreement that was your way of pitching in and giving back, but now that you do have a rent payment of $750, groceries should be paid by everyone. Also, you said your brother is paying the same amount as you. Maybe it's just in my state, but for a 5-bedroom house, it's $1,500. Is it the same in your state? Because that would mean that you and your brother are paying the entire rent, whereas your parents aren't chipping in at all. Not the idiot. I moved in with my fiancé just over a year ago. He makes significantly more than I do, double actually. He has a nice house on land and we love it. But I can't afford my bills, student loans, debt from college, etc., half a mortgage, used to have 4 roommates in a house, and half of everything else. So we made a compromise. I pay the utilities, buy groceries, cook, and do the general housework inside. I love this because I love to cook, he can't, and I'm kind of a neat freak. Like many have said previously, you were already paying rent in other ways. Not the idiot. What they expected you to do yard work and maintenance, groceries, and now on top of that, they want to rent. They are mad because you took care of stuff along with groceries, now they want to charge rent on top of it. Your parents need to sit down and talk with you and your brother about what they really need from you as they age in place, whether it helps with the property tax or their finances including utility bills with 4 people living there in the winter months. Background: I've been with my husband for 6 years total, married for 2. We have no children and do not plan to. My 27 husband, 32, has a group of guys that he's been friends with since elementary school. After college, they all moved back to the same area and several of them rented a house together until they started getting girlfriends and moving out. After they moved out, they still had guys' night nearly every Friday until COVID happened. They started back up a few months ago after restrictions in our area relaxed and the majority of the guys started getting tested regularly because of their jobs. There is one single guy, let's call him B, left in the group and they meet at his house and hang out in the carport to drink a few beers and just shoot the crap. I've never had a problem with my husband W going guys' night. He gets off work at 5 and is usually home no later than 8 every Friday. He never drives home drunk, and if he ever does have a few too many, I don't mind going to pick him up. I feel like I should note that we live the farthest away from B's house, about 15 minutes. All the other guys live within walking distance of B. Usually, I bake cookies or other snacks for him to take with him to share with the guys. I also don't mind driving the other guys home if needed. If we have plans or anything, he doesn't go. Since the guys' night is resumed, the other wives have been complaining about it. We're friendly, but none of us are really good friends like our husbands are. We've tried to have a girls' night while the guys have their night, but most of them have kids, and we really don't have anything in common outside of our husbands. It was just awkward. One of the guys A is married to F, and they have a 1-year-old baby. F has been particularly vocal about not wanting A to be out every Friday, as she wants help at home. The other wives backed her up and started a group chat asking that we present a united front to cancel guys' night. Here's where I may be an idiot. I refuse to side with them. It gives me time to unwind after work and it's become part of my routine. So when the other wives told their husbands that they didn't want guys' night to happen anymore, I told W that I didn't feel the same way and he should keep going. He enjoys it and he should get to see his friends regularly. So after the confrontation, the other guys started in with why can't you be cool like W's wife? Or she lets him go, she even makes us cookies and picks him up, etc. Apparently made the comment I wish I was still single like B. He can do whatever he wants, and I miss that all the other wives are pissed at me, saying if we had been a united front like they planned, guys' night would either be cancelled or a less frequent occurrence, once a month. So, am I the idiot? Not the idiot. This arrangement works for you, so no reason to pretend it doesn't. But your situation is very different to those with babies, toddlers. Being out at work all day then out with buddies every Friday when you have a 1-year-old is likely a bit much. He gets to relax at end of every week while she is frazzled and still caring for the kid. As an idiot for his cool wife comments and not understanding his wife's need or seeming to care. This is a problem in their relationship and has nothing to do with you. Not the idiot. But it would be nice if you and your husband had some compassion for the other wives who do not get a relaxing night at home but are left to be the sole childminder for the night. I think it's super suspect that the equivalent girls' night together happened on the same night as the guys, so the women were still expected to watch all the kids. If the guys get a night off, the women should get a different night away from the house when the menfolk watch the kids. Not the idiot. Wives are idiots for trying to band forces rather than dealing with their own husbands, leaving them home with kids every Friday. Husbands are idiots for throwing you in their wives' faces instead of dealing with the problem. Or whoever the host is, and your husband should ask the friends to stop bringing you and the cool wife crap into it. Apart from making them sound like the immature idiots they are, it unnecessarily makes drama around you. I'd stop sending treats if I heard any more of that crap, because it feeds the beast. My mom left my dad when I was 17, I'm 29 now, and had a new boyfriend literally straight away. We all suspected that she was cheating with this dude beforehand, but there was never any proof, and she even to this day refuses to admit it. She had 2 more kids with this guy. When my mom and dad broke up, I moved out to live with my dad, who had moved back in with his parents. The major reason for this was because she told me to leave as I kept fighting with her new dude. I really did not want to deal with a new guy in my mom's life, and I was really upset that she didn't give a crap about how much pain my dad was in. When she told me to leave, something in me changed, and I am still unable to forgive her. That solidified because my 14-year-old sister stayed with my mom for a year and then begged to come and live with my dad because she hated it so much at my mom's place. And my sister and mom were close, so for my sister to feel that way, it must have been bad. Since I was 18, my grandparents kept pushing me to start a business because I liked to tinker and had built a few specialized tools for a niche construction industry that my dad was in, and they saw potential in me. They gave me a lot of money as an investment. Actually, they remortgaged their house, that's much they believed in me, and basically, I majorly lucked out and managed to land some national contracts at 24 that turned into more than a few $1 million over a few months when the business boomed. The profit trajectory has risen since then, and basically, I'm living a life I never thought would be for a schmuck like me. I moved my dad, sister, and grandparents out to the East Coast a couple years back, and we've started a new life. I am surrounded by people who see and saw the best in me, and I'm grateful so much because I was seriously messed up after my mom blew our family apart. For the last couple of years or so, my mom has been on my case to reunite with her. She is getting increasingly more insistent that I go visit her and her boyfriend and kids, and keeps trying to guilt trip me because my sister has a much more privileged life now and my younger 2 half-siblings don't. She keeps telling me that even if I don't forgive her, I should look out for the kids as they're innocent in all this. Am I the idiot because day to day I have no interest in helping her or her family? In my opinion, she made her bed and she can lay in it, but the guilt eats me alive sometimes. I just can't forgive her though. Not the idiot, it's unfortunate for her other kids that they have her as a mother, but you can always advise her to support those kids like your dad and grandparents supported you if she wants them to be successful. I mean, I understand that those kids are half-siblings, but you weren't raised with them. They are strangers to you. It would be no different than if you had been given up for adoption and later found your mom and half-siblings. Sharing DNA does not make a family. Not the idiot. Yes, your half-siblings are innocent in all of this, but you're not actively harming them. It's your money, you get to take care of who you want to take care of. If you don't feel enough of a connection with them to look out for them in some way, then you don't have to. It was your mother's responsibility to forge a bond between you and your half-sibling. She failed at that. If anyone hurt innocence here, it was her. She doesn't get to guilt you for hurting innocence when she's the one who caused harm. They're her kids, it's no one else's job to look out for them. Not the idiot, and honestly, your mom is an idiot. She made her choice. She picked a new man, and he can look after her. If you want to do something nice and thoughtful but are one of those prepaid funeral and burial plot plans, should be dirt cheap if she's under 60. Your debt of gratitude is to your father and grandparents that you seem to be showing respect to. Remember, women like her aren't interested in running the race. Just want to hang around the finish line for winners like you.